Gaurang Shah, Senior Vice President, Geojit Financial Services, who joins us this morning. Good morning, Gaurang, and indeed, a good morning today after a while, isn't it?
Yes, Kartik. Indeed, sea of green after a long, prolonged sea of red is what we are witnessing. Uh, Thank you so much, Kartik, for having me on the show. Good morning to you and to all your viewers. A small disclosure. All recommendations that I'll be sharing with you on your show, they are part of our fundamental research team recommendation from a long-term point of view. Our company, Geojit, or myself, we do not have any kind of personal investments, no financial interest, no conflict of interest, but we share similar investment ideas with our clients. They might have their investment interests. So, after the flip flop and shifting of goalpost for the last maybe more than a month, uh, it's good to see, Karthik, that common sense, wisdom, and fine sense of judgment has prevailed upon the President of United States of America, Donald Trump. The big question is that, first of all this should not have started at all. And then came the consistent shifting of goals from change of regime to getting democracy to getting hands on uh, crude oil to getting control of Strait of Hormuz to getting hands on enriched uranium, etc., etc. And to putting boots on grounds, not to forget that, to giving ultimatum of 48 hours and then giving a ceasefire of 5 days. I mean, too much of flip flop. But yeah, it's good to see now. What we need to see, Karthik, is that whether all this thing does translate into ground reality. You cannot take anything for granted, Karthik, especially when it's coming out from White House President Donald Trump. Let's hope and pray. And this week is again a curtailed week, short week. Yesterday we had a holiday. On Friday again, third of April. I beg your pardon, Karthik, is holiday because of Good Friday. Exchanges are closed. And if we have some positive development, I think by the time we get back to trade on next week Monday, and if there is ground reality visible enough to prove that yes, withdrawal and de-escalation has started, then I wouldn't be surprised to see again a very strong opening on Monday. But that's a long time ahead. Let us rejoice today. Markets are holding out to the opening levels of almost about 2.5% plus. Right. And I think if there is going to be a sizable downscaling in crude oil prices, if rupee strengthened against the dollar, and if India VIX has to come down to a much more comfortable zone, then I think we should have positivities.
All right. But in this slew of positivity that we are seeing in the markets, there are two pieces of negative news which have come this morning, not impacting the markets just as yet. But the first one, of course, is the commercial LPG prices which have been hacked, Gaurang.
Yeah.
This is obviously something which is likely to, over time, drive up inflation. And the second is aviation turbine fuel, and those prices have also more than doubled. Is this something which is going to, at some point, add to the inflation woes and eventually the growth projections?
So, Karthik, what we need to witness is that, and it was quite a decent upward revision on commercial cylinders, Karthik.
Yeah.
ATF prices, you and me have to pay for it, Karthik. And we have to decide whether we want to take a flight or whether we want to take a train or a bus, or we want to travel by our own personal vehicle. Even 10 days, 15 days back, if I'm not mistaken, some of the airlines did hike their airfares with additional hike in fuel surcharge. So this is going to not impact the airlines. I think margins will improve. And that's what I mentioned, Karthik. If crude oil prices have to scale downwards, then I think there should be a lot of more positivity in terms of the scare that we all got in terms of inflation going up, interest rates going out of the window. Forget about rate cuts. We were thinking about rate hikes.
That's right.
And the GDP also getting revised downwards. So if things do materialize, I'm also of the opinion, Karthik, that whatever damages has been done to any facility, whether it is crude oil, whether it is natural gas, whether there is damage to the infrastructure, all these will take time to come back to normalcy, right? So till that time, I think we should be a little bit elevated. But yes, to answer your question immediately in the short to medium term, whether this could disturb inflation, as of now, it looks like. Now we need to wait and see how prolonged these elevated levels of commercial cylinders and, of course, any kind of huge negative impact on the inflation front.
All right. Let's also talk about some stocks in news, particularly impacted by these developments. Let's first begin with IOCL, because LPG prices, like we've been discussing, have been hiked, and also Indigo. In addition to the ATF price hike, which may be a negative, it also has a new CEO, William Walsh. So what do you make of these two developments and the impact of these developments on IOCL and on Indigo, respectively?
So on both, as a disclosure, we have coverage, not only IOCL, but we have coverage on BPCL and HPCL as well. That's a disclosure from our side. On Interglobe Aviation also, we have a coverage. And I think whatever damages were done by the earlier CEO uh, uh, in first week of December of 2025, I think compensation and the resignation of the earlier CEO. And now this gentleman, Mr. William Walsh, coming in, I hope he's able to get things back to normal and bring back the glory that Indigo used to have. It's still one of the largest fleet operators, has got a decent market share, not only in domestic market, but also in international market. There are going to be additional aircrafts that's going to be added, Kartik, to the fleet. So that's going to open up positivity. Soon we'll have Jewar Airport also operational. Udan 2, I believe a week back, there was additional allocation given by the government to improve air connectivity. So there is a lot of positivity. 4,400 approximately, Kartik, or thereabouts, is the target for Interglobe Aviation from a long-term point of view.
All right. And all transportation stocks seem to be in the green this morning. You're talking about airports. Even GMR Airport is up about 4.5%, 4.3%. The logistics firms, Concur, Delivery, all these are up this morning in trade. Pretty much one would have estimated that perhaps this hike in fuel prices is something which is going to impact their margins. But it seems all the players are pretty clear that they will pass them on to consumers, isn't it?
We have to pay for it, right, Kartik? Companies don't take it, right? So you and me have to, and people call consumers. They are the last in the line to take this hit,
right?
And they cannot pass it on to anybody else. So amongst the logistic companies, Blue Dart, Transport Corporation of India, and Delivery. These are some of the names, and this is also the margins would also get impacted, because if the import-export gets hit of any country, then the first or the second in line to take hit is the logistic companies, because they don't get their trucks running on the dedicated freight corridors or the expresses of the highways. Transportation of goods becomes a little bit more difficult. You don't have incoming and outgoing merchandise, which used to be as earlier. But let's hope that, and as we all know, sea route are one of the topmost routes for any kind of commercial activity with respect to import and export. So I think that's one of the reasons, of course. And of course, like you were mentioning, fuel prices have a direct impact on logistic companies as well. But I think things should settle down now.
All right. And you did say you have a coverage on IOCL, BPCL, HPCL. Overall, how do you see, the overall elevated oil prices globally impacting margins for these, retailers of fuel over time, given the fact that the government does not seem to be very keen, at least in election season, to increase retail prices?
Yeah, so I don't think till May we'll see any kind of upward movement. And I hope by that time we get back to some decent level in the international commodity market with respect to crude oil and NYMEX, and of course natural gas. So the fact of the matter, Kartik, is from $60-65, we went up to $110-115 on Brent, and maybe $100 plus on the NYMEX. So this twice, it's 2x price hike. Along with that, Kartik, insurance premium went up and logistic freight cost went up. So somebody has to bear the brunt of all these things. So as of now, I think the government is taking whatever it could, and they are trying to restructure in terms of indirect taxes that are there. If we are still at elevated level, then my sense is that second week of May, we should prepare ourselves for paying a little bit more from our pockets for a liter of diesel and petrol. But if things get stabilized and if there is less impact on the oil pool account, then I don't think we should worry much about it. But it's all futuristic, Kartik. we'll have to wait and watch.
Okay. We're also seeing a massive bounce back in IT stocks this morning, Gaurang, outperforming the benchmark with pretty much every stock in the region of about 2.5% or more up. Also, another news item that came was from Coforge, which has received an RBI nod for $1 billion investment in Encora, which is an overseas investment. Overall, the IT story, obviously, there's a knock-on effect because the US markets closed with healthy gains overnight. But also, overall, do you feel with all this sort of negativity around Oracle also getting rid of some 30,000 roles, is the IT sector likely to stay a good investment for, for retail investors? Or do you think this would be a good opportunity to sit on some cash?
Sitting on cash is never advisable. I have not done that, Kartik.
Okay.
And I have also given a disclosure. I did not stop my SIPs, nor during this war, nor during earlier wars or COVID times. So I don't think sitting on cash is a wise idea. You have to put your money to work, right?
Book some profits at these elevated levels in IT stocks and reinvest them somewhere else. Would that be a prudent decision
I don't
to
think
make?
so. Kartik, that's one thing that I don't like. Flip-flop.
Okay.
I think IT, and as a matter of fact, let me give a disclosure, Kartik. Coforge, we have a positive coverage. There was a problem with IT companies, and this will remain for some time with the kind of innovations that we are coming out as far as AI is concerned. And depending upon those innovations, modernizations, technology upgrade, IT companies will react to that, not only in India, but across the globe. But we also have a view that IT sector and contribution from IT and IT services, platforms, whatever be it, are very crucial for your existence. And if you become irrelevant with IT, then you start to kind of, your existence becomes disappearing. It fades off. So we are positive on Coforge. We are positive on almost all the large cap names: TCS, Infosys, HCL Tech Mahindra. Some of the mid cap names that we are positive on are KPIT Tech Science Limited, LTM Mindtree amongst the mid to large, L&T Technologies. So we remain. One only thing is have 1.5, 2 year plus kind of time horizon.
All right, keep a longer time horizon is the word coming in from Gaurang Shah as far as IT stocks are concerned. And of course, a bullish take on Coforge. Gaurang Shah, thank you so much. As always, pleasure having you here with us on News 9.